Good morning. Wonderful rainy day. Thank you for all joining us here in the chapel and on. We're especially glad to have those of you who may be here for the first time and hope to see you again soon. I am Carol Knox, your worship leader for today, and this is Barbara Stevens, and she is Barbara Stevens, and she's a community minister here for Eastrose, and she has been a hospital chaplain for 17 years. Eastrose Fellowship sits on the occupied territory of Clackamas people who were displaced from this land to Iran in 1855. We acknowledge the sacrifice endured by ancestors of, and that our present day is only possible because of the injustices committed against them. We recognize the inherent sovereignty of the Chinook Confederated of Grand Ronde, who carry on the traditions, history, and legacy held by their ancestors from time immemorial to this day. And we seek full relationships that foster repair. So let's greet our neighbors. Take a moment and stand and wave at the camera up there. Good morning. Then read the response call to worship. I thought that would, okay. I'll read the first words, and you read the, I think, are they different? There, all right. I'll read the yellow words. Read the white words. He told me that when Jesus was born, a star appeared in the heavens above the place where the young child lay.
When I was very young, I had no trouble believing wondrous things. I believed in the star.
It was a wonderful miracle, part of a long ago story, telling an uncommon life.
They told me a supernova appeared in the heavens in its diet of fire.
When I was older and believed in science and reason, I believed the story of the star explained.
But I found I was unwilling to give up the star for the birth of one whose uncommon life has long remembered.
The star explained became the star understood for Jesus, for Buddha, for Zarathustra.
Why not star? Some bright star shines somewhere in the heavens each time a child is born.
Who knows what it may foretell? This is the time for child's lighting. Gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this sign of our quest for truth and meaning, a celebration of life we share together.
The opening words today, as it probably says up there, yes, come from Thomas Merton, Conjectures of a Guilty Bystander. Actually something I've seen a couple of different times. It talks about that sense of oneness that many mystical teachers talk about. In Louisville, the corner of 4th and Walnut, in the center of the shopping district, I was suddenly overwhelmed with the realization that I loved all these people. They were mine and ours, that we could not be alien to one another even though we were total strangers. It was like waking a dream of separateness, as if the sorrows and stupidities of the human condition could overwhelm me now. But it can't. There is people. They are all walking around shining like the sun. It was as suddenly I saw the secret beauty of their hearts, where sin, nor desire, nor self-knowledge can reach, the core of their reality, the person that each one is in God's eyes. If only they could all see themselves as they really are. If only we could see each other that way all the time. There would be no more war, no more hatred, no more cruelty, no more greed. In that vein, to sing the opening, "Come, whoever you are." The words are up there. We're going to do it as a round. Mary's going to sing it, play it through one time. We'll sing it together one time. Then Carol will start this group, and I will start that group over there. We'll sing it twice in a round, and then stop. Yeah, well, please. for the children to come up. I've already figured out. Religious educator Tara is going to read a story.
Good morning. We have with us today Briar, Jonah, Isla, and Crosby. I'm glad that you guys are all with us. I'm glad everybody's with us. So today we're going to explore something special about being human. We have an amazing ability, like having a pause button in our minds that helps us make. We can stop, think about our values, the things that matter to us, and choose how to act. And here's the wonderful part. Every time we use this ability to make a kind choice, we're helping to create the kind of world we want to live in. Each moment is a chance to be brave with our whole hearts, do something we believe in, and make choices that help ourselves, each other, and the world. When we choose to be loving, to help someone who needs it, to stand up for what's right, we're not just changing one moment. Each choice connects us to the countless others who are making their own kind choices, creating ripples of goodness that flow between us all. I'd like to share a book with you called Why Not by Kobe Yamada, pictures by Gabriella Baruch. As I read, let's think about the everyday moments we can choose to make a difference. This is it. This is your rare and wonderful life. It is the greatest gift you will ever receive. Everything you want and everything you dream of is waiting. Vast treasure of talents and potential hidden inside you, and your life is ready for you to discover all. Why not find out how remarkable your life will be? Why not make the most of every moment? You were born for wonder and awe. You are here to mark the beauty of this world and to experience the joy of being alive. Be a stranger to the ordinary. Know the unknown. Why not try something you have never tried before? Why not go somewhere you've never gone before? Stay curious, have adventures, make room for what you love, discover the world's wonders, and know you are one of them too. So much of life depends on how you think and how you see yourself. You are shaped by the choices you make. How will you answer when today asks what you have learned from yesterday? Why not see what your best can be? Why not? Things won't always go according to plan. They might be difficult. You may get and tired. You may feel lost. You might want to turn back. Step. You want courage to take it. Embrace the messy parts, especially the messy parts. And don't be fooled by fear. It has a way of shrinking possibilities and diminishing dreams. Have faith. Keep going. You can be the difference. You are made of sunrises and second chances. You are the hope of a brand new day. Even if the odds are to one, why not be the one? Don't wait for things to be great. Paying attention is an act of love. Noticing is caring. Beauty is all around and in everything. It just needs you to recognize it. Why not look for the good in everyone and everything? Open your heart. Take it all in. This is your everywhere. This is your home. You are connected to everything, and everything is connected. Every little bit of good helps. Every act of kindness builds. Every bit of compassion heals. Everything you have ever loved becomes a it all counts. Why not? You found it. Thank you for exploring with me some of what makes us wonderfully human, our ability to act on our values and create ripples of goodness in the world. And as the children move to our religious exploration classroom and the adults stay here with Reverend Barbara, remember that each of us, no matter our age, has the power to live with a whole heart. And if the adults along the center aisle will form, we'll sing the children out.
So we hold these joys and sorrows, the delight of life. Animals remind us of that and the wonders of nature. And we also hold the reality of death and the pain of loss and the fear of, illness and all that causes us pain and suffering that we hold together that hopefully helps to ease some sorrow. So may we honor all of those joys and all of those sorrows in the days that come.
And I put in the heart stone.
Right, thank you.
In honor of all of the joys and sorrows.
Thank you, Carol. Did you turn that off? Great. So for the silent and spoken meditation today, I suppose it's spoken. I'm going to actually sort of guide you through a meditation. It's called a centering prayer. It comes out of the Christian tradition. It is it's meant to allow us to sort of become one with the holy. And if you don't have a sense of the holy, then with the cosmos, whatever it may be for you. One way to start doing centering prayer is a word that has some resonance for you. People with religious backgrounds usually come up as, a connection to their cosmos is something that works. River, whatever it is for you that might have. So, and I'm going to invite you to allow yourself, you can close your eyes if you're comfortable, then just look at a neutral spot somewhere and allow your body to just settle in there. And be aware of your breath. Breath coming in and the breath going out. And then I invite you to hopefully you and with the in-breath, you can say in your mind or visualize that word. Out-breath, just allow yourself to be open to what is. With the in-breath, say or see your word, and with the out-breath, sit in openness. We're going to do this for a few minutes. And during that time, you are distracted by thoughts or sensations. That's fine, it's normal. Just when you notice you've been distracted, yourself back to the breath and the openness. invite you to bring your eyes back to your breath. And just watch the breath a few times. Just noticing it. You don't need to do anything with it. Just allow it to be what it is. And when you are ready, open your eyes and bring your awareness back to the room. And now I invite you to sing our song, our quiet song, A Core of Silence. Yeah, number 286. The words will appear in just a minute. Do you need to? I'll play the melody once through. Yeah. So Mary will play it through, and please remain seated. The reading today is by Rachel Naomi Remen. I've seen this particular story in a couple of books. One of them, I believe, was My Grandfather's Wisdom. And this time, it was from, it's not up there, all right. It was? Yeah. Well, good. Then, because I can't remember the title. So in this story, she's talking to someone who's sharing with her about his experience of his father's death. She writes, at that time, his father had had Alzheimer's disease for almost 10 years and become a sort of walking vegetable. His mother cared for him and dressed him and spoken in at least 7 or 8 years. As her boys got older, they would mind their father on the weekend, their mother time for herself. And so this story happened one Sunday afternoon when they were alone with their father watching football in the room. Their father was sitting nearby in a chair when suddenly he grabbed his chest and pitched forward on the rug. Both John and his brother ran towards him and knelt on either side of their father. John knew immediately that their father was in a great deal of trouble. He was gray and sweaty, and he seemed to be having trouble breathing. What was really impressive to him was that his older brother looked frightened. His older brother said to him, "Quick, John, call 911." But before John could get off the rug, a voice he had not heard in many years, a voice he could hardly remember, said to him, "Don't call 911, John. Tell your mother. Tell her I am all right." And John's father died. Now, the state where this happened in requires a post-mortem examination of anyone who dies unexpectedly. So an autopsy was done on his father, and he told me his father's brain was totally destroyed by a terrible disease, Alzheimer's disease. And so he has to question all those years, who spoke? There was nothing in any medical textbook that he has read that has helped him with this question. The question itself has strengthened him. It has changed his experience of his work, his experience of himself, and his itself. Now we have a musical interlude. All right, I talk today about consciousness, and just to talk about beliefs about consciousness can inform what we do in the world. And I also want to talk about how our values inform what we believe about consciousness. I have too much stuff, so I am only going to touch on a few ideas. It's way big, a topic. Give you some thoughts to consider, some questions. The question's probably the more important thing. All right, what is consciousness? Well, we don't know what consciousness is, and people have different ideas. The neuroscientist Anna Seth notes that the definition of consciousness, which is that consciousness is our subjective, basically, sense, right? Probably most of us don't really think about consciousness a lot. We just live in our bodies and have our thoughts and experiences. We consider ourselves to be alive and conscious, and that's as far as it goes. And that's kind of the focus idea of consciousness. Philosopher Thomas Nagel puts it a little bit differently, but I think it's kind of the same thing. Being conscious is the experience of having this sense is like whatever it is to be what we are. So it is like something to be you, to be me, to be a worm, to be a Douglas fir tree. Although not everybody agrees that it is something to be like all of those things, even a way somebody, not everybody agrees. Although not everybody agrees that it is something to be like to be human. The philosopher Daniel Dennett, for example, he talks about consciousness. I'm going to read from Wikipedia because it's still a little bit odd to me. He doesn't really believe in this folk definition of consciousness, nor does he believe in this idea that it is something to be like. He doesn't believe in subjective experience, that we actually have that. So in Wikipedia, Dennett describes consciousness as an account of the various calculations occurring in the brain at the same time. It's akin to what behaviorists believe, or what is actually talked about, it was talked, Descartes, for example, and other philosophers basically said, we have firings in our brains. We have sensations and experiences of a physical nature and things inside of our heads, but it's not really consciousness. It is just instinctual reactions to stimuli. I think that's kind of akin to what Dennett's talking about. He actually has a thing called a philosophical zombie. In other words, human beings are zombies, and we think and we talk and we move, but it's, again, just an instinctual response. It doesn't mean there's anything there. It's part of an organic material reactivity. Well, it seems to me that belief, which would extend to the natural world in spades, right? That no creature would have any consciousness. Humans don't have consciousness. That then you don't care that much, or it doesn't matter so much if you harm another living being, because anyway. I think even, I'm going to guess that Daniel Dennett kind of walks through the world acting as if he has consciousness, acting as if other people do, and that we all have feelings. I think that's pretty normal. And yet, it is also true that René Descartes, that I think, therefore, I would experience, and the dogs would be crying out and trying to get away, and in his mind, was an instinctual reaction to stimuli. It did not mean they experienced any pain. So, you know, people really believe it. It's perhaps part of scientific model, again, because we also have a scientific model that recognizes mystery and that recognizes oneness. Although I do want to get, I was going to talk about Sam Harris, but I want to get to what Max Tegmark says, which I thought was interesting. He is a physicist who also talked about the universe as basically a mathematical structure. Well, he mentioned everything that exists is made up of up quarks, down quarks, and that's it. So, you know, a rock, up quarks, down quarks, and electrons. A fish, up quarks, down quarks, and electrons, and us, same thing. Okay. What makes us unique is the pattern of all elements, these things, so that we can go from being a baby to being a 90-year-old person and still think we're us, because even though structure over again, new up quarks, down quarks, and electrons over and over, yet we we're us because the structure, the pattern has remained the same. So the thing that I find so exciting about that is that it kind of leads to oneness in my mind. If we're all this same stuff, it's all just about patterns, then there isn't then separation. It makes sense on that, I guess, quantum level, that there is no separation. I think that some people from quantum physics are they're missing some steps. And this one probably is missing some steps too, but I like it. So Sam Harris. Sam Harris, who is also an atheist, you know, believe in anything beyond the material realm, and yet he is also a meditator and has experienced that sense of oneness that you get from some kind of meditation. In Buddhist meditation, what you're doing, like breathing meditation, for example, focusing on the breath, or where you just are aware of your thoughts arising, you lose a sense of your body. You become expansive. You don't really feel like have a self anymore. You are just become one thing that is. If you experience that, then it really does change you. While, especially, you do start to understand the sense of reality being illusion, the sense of self being an illusion, but not in a way that means there is no existence or there is no reality that matters, but more in a sense that what we really are is one, that you and I actually, that space. I'm going to read. Who is a Buddhist monk, was a Buddhist monk. Please call me by my names. And some of it's not very pleasant, but see, I think it's important. So I'll start with his statement, the rich heart is the birth and all that is. So the way I understand that is that that is part of the oneness, how everything is in our hearts. I had an experience once. I had a Buddhist spiritual director, but at this time she was sick. She said the word heart, and I don't remember what she was talking about, but all of a sudden it just kind of cracked open for me, and I saw the universe in her heart. It was incredible. Oh, the universe, it is the size, I don't remember who said that, Chet Ramo, I think, but anyway, it was the size of her heart. And yet it is this huge thing. It's like if we could really live in that space, we could walk across the universe. Anyway, it was amazing. So that's how I read that sentence. And then he goes on, I am a mayfly surface of the river, a bird that swoops, follow the mayfly. In Uganda, all skin and bones, my legs as thin as bamboo sticks. Merchant, deadly weapons to Uganda. I am the 12-year-old girl, refugee on a small boat, who throws herself into the ocean after being raped by a sea pirate. And I am also the pirate, my heart, capable of seeing and loving. I actually, sometimes I take that into my life, that knowing that I am no different from this person who is so different from me in terms of, and I mean, unit, and you get some people who've done some horrible things, and having to hold that wisdom is what helped me to be present and available to them. About what we do with this depth of love that we feel, or we could feel, that also suffering, because we do both. That's another sermon. Right now I'm talking about how we're one and that piece of love. But I have felt like I had to acknowledge that that's, Thich Nhat Hanh goes on to say, my joy is like spring, so warm it makes. My pain is like so vast it fills the 4 oceans. Please call so I can hear all my cries and laughter at once, so I can see that my joy and pain are one. Call me by my true names, so I can wake up and the door of my would be left open, the door of God. So I think that this understanding that Thich Nhat Hanh has is an understanding of consciousness as oneness. regarding what's illusion and what's not illusion, and the reality that we don't see reality clearly because, I don't want to get into it. I don't have time to get into all the details about how we really don't see what's in front of us. Our brains create what our eyes take in so that we can make sense of it, for example. And our memories are somewhat made up, to say the least. However, there is a consciousness that I think Thich Nhat Hanh would honor, that is a consciousness of oneness that leads us to compassion. So we have some different ways of looking at consciousness. And I want to, okay, time. I wanted to talk about another thing that is what it might mean to be conscious or not conscious, and that's getting to this idea of universal consciousness, which is this idea that there is a in the cosmos of some kind, whether you think of it as God or you think of it as just an isness, which is my word for the whatever, that there's something that is part of all of us, kind of like that Hindu who shatters himself into a Googleplex of pieces and goes into everything that exists in the universe, every person, every plant, every rock, I guess, and are just to that we are Brahma, that we are whatever that is, the sacred, the holy, that we see the sacred in one another, whatever form that takes for us. And that is how I think of the universal consciousness, being sort of infused in everything. And yet, I wonder, so if that has something to do with centering prayer, my experience with centering prayer is when I would enter into centering prayer, I would say, okay, I'm going to do this for 20 minutes. Tell myself that. I sit, and I do the thing of the word and all breathing and openness. And there is there's not awareness. There's nothing. I just wake up, 20 minutes, my eyes or whatever, and sometimes it's not exactly 20 minutes, but it's pretty close. In the same position, but I don't memory of any during that time. My mind, I think, is shut off. I feel incredible peace. It's as if something. I wonder if that is that merging with whatever is, and we don't have a conscious awareness of that. Now, how that fits into all of this, I'm not sure. And yet, there's nothing to do except to be kind and compassionate and peaceful with others. I know that doesn't mean I don't get angry and I don't have my moments, but that's the essential nature in what they're striving. And actually, last night that there's a Buddhist form of this, that kind of same thing called. It's on the other page. Nirada Samapatti. It translates as the cessation of thought and feeling, and all mental activities suspended. So I guess it's a thing that other people experience. A minute for this. So these are the values that they're new. We used to have values as principles. We still have our principles. The inherent worth and dignity of every person, we respect that. There's the respect for the interdependent existence, which both of those are kind of about oneness. And we don't talk about love exactly in our principles, it's really about love, and love in the center makes a lot of sense. That love leading to things like interdependence and generosity and equity and all of those things. I believe that if we have those values, that we can't help but other who matter, to respect the inherent worth of one another. And interdependence is not quite the same as interconnectedness, but it still requires that we see nature as important, valuable, and to care for the world as well as for ourselves. Rachel Naomi Remen wrote this: "When mystery has a little m, it is something by its very nature that cannot be solved, can never be known, and so in its absolute unknowableness, it presents us with a living experience of the sacred, the dimension of life that might be considered sacred. Mystery is never solved. Mystery is only lived. So I know what consciousness is." And as a Unitarian Universalist, I'm pretty good at not knowing. I think that's kind of what we do with a lot of things. So it's okay. And yet, I like that I know, but I still experience, and I can live as if is in the center. So, whatever that centering prayer is, maybe if there is business that infuses everything, I like that as love. Do I have time for one more story?
It's taught and I don't have any more time.
All right. Then let us just sit unknowing, and love is in the center, and that it will hold us. Closing hymn time. Number 343, A Fire, Mist, and a Planet. It is in the great hymnal, yes. And the words will be up here. Please stand as you are able and willing.
would like to first read to you about the each week at Eastrose, we take an offering to support the church and share with a community nonprofit. This quarter, half our offering will go to Native American youth and families. Serves Native infant to elder from across the Portland metropolitan area. Their aim is to enhance the diverse strengths of our youth and families in partnership with the community through diverse strengths of our youth and families in partnership with the community through cultural identity and action. They believe that traditional cultural values are integral to regaining sovereignty and building self-esteem. NIA values respect for the individual, places the larger community before the individual, and involve. They promote healthy living through positive alternatives to high risk and promote the values of sobriety, family stability, active lifestyles, and education. If you are by visiting our website, clicking the donate button, or you may scan the QR code on the screen. Here for the first time, we invite you to let the basket pass by and truly be our guest. The gifts of the congregation most great. And we will sing the gratitude song. It's number 1010 in the teal hymnal. We give thanks. Of course, they're on the screen. And now we have the extinguishing of the when we take fire from our chalice, it's not become less, it becomes more chalice, but we take light and warmth with us, multiplying the power by all of our lives and sharing it with the world.
Go from this place. Yes, we're going to have announcements first, but as we go from this place, I invite you to be aware of what is, and to love indiscriminately.
I have a few announcements. Snowcap, the change of date for December, the volunteer date is moved instead of, I think it was the 8th, he said. So from 3 to 5. And here we have the Trinity United Methodist Church pre-concert and bake sale. Donations are welcome. And the choir is open to everyone who wants to sing in harmony in the spirit of peace. So it's their Portland Peace Choir on November 23rd. The service is now ended. Those here at Eastrose are invited to remain, have some coffee, and visit. We hope to see you all next week. Bring a friend. It's not specific, it's about
Nessie and several people have asked me to start a knitting group. And so I'm going to start it. It's meditative. It can be very meditative. I made this. And so we'll probably start it in January, and just come to me. I think I know who some of the knitters are, and I will email you. So that's a good thing. Keeps people from being lonely. The other thing is we're in the process of, it goes along with the announcement with the Friends of Trees that's going to be planting trees here. We have been a long time studying Miyawaki forests, which are tiny forests that anybody can plant in their backyard of native plants. And we were going to plan a get-together to see if people could learn about it. We've been studying it a lot. It's all over the world. It has a 50-year history of sequestering a lot of carbon because the trees are planted close together. Anyway, I'm not going to tell you the whole thing, but if you are interested in coming to a get-together to learn about that, we are going to be planning a demonstration forest for school children. We've already got the land prepped, and so there would be a purpose for your knowledge. And the reason I'm asking you is because it's not just, we're not planting big trees. These are little tiny 1-gallon pots of native plants. So it's something you can do no matter what age. We had some 9-year-olds doing it with us last time. They did fine. And any age can do it. So that's why I wanted to announce it. Thank you. So just